Hello, everybody. Sorry we were away last week. Some of us went away to celebrate. I know we've got guests, Lufuno. Pyramid is playing somebody in the final.
No, you can't say you know we have guests and you don't introduce
No, we know.
No. I know you want to deal with Lufuno.
No, man.
Introduce the guests.
We must get the house in order before we can welcome guests. Lufuno, house manners. Congratulations to Pyramid. You said that Pirates are not going to get to the finals.
Congratulations to Pyramid.
You got it spot on.
I got spot on.
Pirates.
I said they got too many goals.
Who's Pyramids playing in the final?
Congratulating Mamelodi Sundowns for reaching the final.
Can we get water, please, Lufuno?
Congratulations, guys. Yeah.
Stego.
Brothers.
Welcome home.
Thank you very much for being
We
here.
apologize. Manners tend to leave as soon as we get started. Cox.
Yes, my boy.
Your team is in the finals?
You
can't say like
no. But
Cox says they will get there in the penalty.
I told you. No. I was expecting.
He was not believing.
No, I knew they'll get there, but it was just a matter of saying. I knew it wasn't going to be pretty. That much I didn't know. It was never.
It had to take an own goal.
Yeah, it had to take willpower.
Whatever it took. Chief.
No, it had to take willpower. I mean, you can't be knocking in this thing for 3 seasons, bumper to bumper, going to semi-finals, and then not getting there. That's the school fees that we're talking about. That is the heritage that we are talking about.
No, man.
That's why when people...
There's a new say. The last team from South Africa to play in the CAF finals.
That takes all the narrative. It takes off all the narrative of heritage out of the window. Pyramid went there for the first time. They're in the final.
But
wait.
But Pyramid pulled the Kaiser Chiefs.
Whoa.
So Pyramid pulled the Kaiser Chiefs.
But I'm saying to you, so do not come and throw heritage here. If you were failing to get to the CAF Champions League, you were failing to get there. It took Gadoso. It took Gadoso to come and show you how to get to the final.
So Lufuno,
give the men some bells.
So you've always said that the last team to get to the finals from South Africa was Kaiser Chiefs.
Yes.
So that is changing.
Yeah, absolutely, it's changing.
Okay, no.
Because Sundowns is there now.
So as a South African,
Yes,
only one team has made it to the final in terms of Confed and Champions League. You had Mamelodi Sundowns, you had Orlando Pirates, and you had Stellies that were in the semi-final. What does that say about South African football and where it is?
No, the standard has definitely improved. I think our league has shown that, probably with an influence as well with some of the foreign coaches, maybe throughout the African continent, has helped the guys in terms of tactically and also understanding that competing at on all fronts is something that South African football needs. It's showing in the national level as well that we have to give thanks to certain teams that have contributed to raising the standard. I think
you can name them.
Nonetheless, to give respect to Sundowns, I think just also they have been a pioneer in terms of maybe pushing the benchmark to say that we end up in the semis, quarterfinals of this competition now and again, and the likes of Pirates and Stellenbosch joining them, it's really good for South African football.
Lufuno, when you look at Pirates, the makeup of the squad, you've got a lot of players that are coming through their development structures. You've got a lot of local players that are there. You've got a Jose that has now allowed Pirates to be able to dream. Yes, to lose at this stage is painful, but one has to take off their head and say, Orlando Pirates put up a brave fight to get this far and put up a good show.
Yeah, they put a very brave fight to get there. And I called it before it started. I said Pirates will get to the semi-final. And they did not disappoint. Because Pirates as an institution, they also play as an institution, besides the players that are playing there. It's a big team. When they get to this stage, you started to see the pedigree of a team itself. Hence, they've performed in that way. And of course, edition before, they paid the price for underestimating Joaneng, and they were knocked out. So for me, I think kudos to the Pirates institution, to the coach, allowing and playing the young players to perform at a higher stage. Look at Nkota. For me, Nkota had a brilliant tournament.
Cox.
Aye.
Why are you saying
I understand the kudos that you are throwing around. Lufuno.
Yeah.
Orlando Pirates had no reason to not be in the final. I was so sure of the all South African fan.
At 2-1, I thought.
I'm the biggest fan of Coach Jose. At any given moment, I'll defend. But on the day,
what I said to you here, after watching Pirates play Pyramid at FNB Stadium, I said the biggest mistake for Pirates is the form that they've been having to play away and come and get away with it. I said Pyramid have goals. Pyramid is a team that you can score against them, but you can't have given time.
No, you can't have 2 away goals in a semi-final of a Champions League where away goals matter, and you still not be able to pull through. Had I told you 3 months back, saying to you, Orlando Pirates going to have 2 away goals in a semi-final, were you going to say they're not going to make the semi-final? I know you were busy saying Pirates not going to make the semi-final, but had I asked you that question, telling you they have 2 away goals,
will make the semi-final.
Yeah, you did say no. You did say they're going to make the semi-final and knock.
Let's bring Seho in. In terms of that, is it the school fees that Pirates did not have? Because in this, you needed to know how to play the moment. Because they've played well in the tournament, but the moment that they said, we're leading 2-1, and instead of saying, close this thing down, the coach then brings attacking players, which then left them open.
I think tactically he didn't make the right substitutions. He pulled off players quite early. I think he wanted to shut the game off quite early when he had the 2-1 advantage. And like he says, Lekoko, at 2-1, you're pretty much sure that you're going to. Yeah. You're playing, when you look at your counterparts on the other side, they're playing in front of a Red Sea, hostile environment. It's almost like you're playing a practice game, if I may say, in terms of no fans in the stadium. Not much pressure. Them nati. Balls are coming in, flying into the box. A leadership, I think, maybe a little bit in terms of the senior players at Pirates. The school fees are talking about, maybe it got to them, but it's still no excuse, I believe. It's still no excuse for Pirates to not be in the final. It is a crushing blow. Took the wind out of their sails, but for me, it's really disappointing. Pirates should have been in that final.
Those substitutions, and I agree with him when he says they were made early. It looks like it was a template already before the game started.
So before it was a
at 75, I'm going to put in this one.
Match management.
At 7, it had nothing to do with the moment. Because you ask yourself, like, you pull talent. Granted, you don't have, Tito is not defensive. Yes, granted. But why do you put him at that moment? Because before you put him on, the goal was scored. You remember Mlungisi ran all the way from the touchline and stopped Mitchell from making a substitution. Yeah. Because you can read the game, you can see what's happening. You can't say because I wanted to put him. It's like I promised Tito, you're going to be getting the match bonus, so you have to jump in by hook or crook.
The moment does not allow.
It does not allow. And that's why I'm saying I'm the biggest fan of Jose, but at that moment, in that match,
got it wrong.
I wanted an all South African team, and I still think it was supposed to happen.
With that said, a South African coach in Fadlu Davids, sitting on the bench with Wayne Sunderland, sitting on the bench with a team that has played in this condition. Lufuno's favorite analyst at the moment is the second assistant coach of Simba. Is it first or second?
Well, it's an assistant. it's Darian Wilken. This is a gentleman that was at Pirates for about 4 years as a performance analyst. He left with Fadlu they were at Raja together with Zimbabwe. They won the league, invincible there. Now he's with Fadlu. We don't mention a lot about him, but this is the guy that we should also give credit to because he's doing a lot of work behind the scene. Because his background is a performance analyst, but he's also an assistant coach for Fadlu Davis at Simba.
One thing that I've said, Mampoza, it's South African football at this moment, it's at its healthiest. And I'm talking about football-wise.
Not administration.
Mambo, habari leo. My Tanzanian people. You have a Maruping. I'm talking about now in Tanzania. We're just looking around in Tanzania. There's a Maruping that's there, technical analyst. You have another technical analyst that's here. When Sunderland is an assistant, you have Fadlu. So we are not only exporting players, we're exporting technical staff. And that's thing, it's not easy to get it right.
Simba, people at Simba, please, don't boycott the game and tell us you're supposed to play match day -1. Please, it's important that you show up. But Benjamin Mkapa is not available at the moment. Is it going to be ready for the final, Lufuno? Oh, how important is that stadium?
I think for Simba, it is huge. It's important that Benjamin be ready and available for the final.
It has to.
Because it will give them a big chance against Berkane. Because
you need everything.
They're not pushover.
If you know a juju man, if you know some chemical engineering, bring the...
Yeah, so they really need this. Because, they're in the final after the longest... I think for them, this is the defining moment. If they win this final, they had a very successful season.
We need to move away from this juju chemical. Guys, there's sports science. There are people that do research behind.
Talking of them. People who do sports science and everything. Stellenbosch. Because when you look at them,
It's not- yes.
you'd see that Stellenbosch sells 4 to 5 players every season. Yet Stellenbosch is not dropping the standard.
The business model at Stellenbosch is probably one of the greatest in terms of South African football, in terms of how to run a team. Yes, they do have a very... They do have a very successful owner who runs the club, but in terms of the model, they set out the objectives almost 10 years to 15 years ago that this is what we're going to do. We're going to develop high talent players when they're still in the second division, came into the PSL. Their model is to sell players at a premium price that they get for a cheaper price, almost similar to what they do with your Benficas and all the other clubs.
Your Ajax.
And they stay in that system. And they've got world-class facilities, which also helps them. So I even see they also export, like we're talking about, not just football players, technicals. There's a boy that went to Pirates now. He's, I think, one of the conditioning.
Yes.
He's from Stellenbosch as well. So they are exporting a lot of their talents.
If you look at Sundowns, their second in charge in terms of Flemingberg's assistant is
it's a Stellis product.
So for me, I just give them kudos in terms of the way they've come into the football arena and basically added value. They've literally added value in the way they work.
Just add on that.
The thing is when you look at...
They're very consistent. Is the only coach in the PSL that has not been fired in a long time.
Yeah.
Longest serving coach with one team, Steve Buck.
And there was a time where people, if he was a coach for any other team, would have said, let him go. This one has to go. Because they were languishing there at the bottom.
But chemical engineering works in the
let me remind you.
Mpho, when you play Esperanza last year in the semi-final, was there any sign of a rain? What happened to lightning?
No, there was rain there was lightning. But for me, it was an act of nature, but it was... Lufuno says chemical engineering.
I'll never advocate for chemical engineering.
You must also understand that with chemical engineering, there's no rules against it. Even when you go to FIFA's headquarters and you ask them, you sit there with the guys, Giovanni, is there any rules when it comes to chemical engineering? There are no rules. It is a pre-match rituals. Football fans, sportsmen across the world have pre-match rituals. Whether they drink water, they spit water into the air, it does not mess around with the configuration of the pitch, the ball.
We need to call it out. We need to call it out because the groundsmen take time and they prepare this field. But now
nothing's going on, bro.
No,
it's just playing with the psyche of the... Africa would have won the World Cup long ago with man.
If chemical engineering worked, Africa would have been
champions for the longest of time.
Stop messing up with the field.
If chemical engineering
because it doesn't work this thing.
In South Africa, the second in charge.
Nothing's happening on the field. Play the ball. They're not touching the ball. They're not touching the nets. They're not digging up holes. They're not tampering.
No, Lufuno can tell you a thing about they touch the balls.
What do they do with the balls?
He knows.
Tell us
There were even fights happening. People were...
There's springs. Did you see when they went to Pirates, when Pirates went to Algeria, what happened? After they started...
People were cleaning up.
Yeah. No,
guys. But having said that, and next week when we headed towards the finals, it's going to be important to be able to do that. And we touched on an important subject. Sundowns is going to have a home crowd advantage.
Firstly.
Altitude advantage.
1350.
My favorite. 1350 above sea level. Now,
free entrance.
Can't do free entrance.
I'm just asking.
No, can't do free entrance.
No, you can't. You're going to win now because of regulations and the things that happened. Even the last match.
Looking at the way that Pyramid is set up, Pyramid is pretty much, in footballing terms, is a pretty new club.
The same as Sundowns in terms of support. I'm just saying, but I'm just leveling
I'm talking about continental winners.
I'm leveling the support base. So same thing. There's no different.
So looking at that, will that be an advantage for Sundowns in the final to play against a team that... Because we've seen Sundowns can handle the big crowd. They've gone to Esperance, where there was a Tikoloshi and everything, where there was a Ahly there. Is it now advantage Sundowns in terms of there is no crowd to deal with?
I think it is an advantage. To answer your question, it's an advantage for Sundowns for sure. Pyramids, I think the reason also why they've gotten this far, they've gone under the radar, while getting to the final. Not much has been said about them. Against Pirates, we saw the striker, what's his name?
Fiston.
They're going to throw the kitchen sink at Sundowns. They know that they probably might not get to a final in a very long time again because they're still fairly new club, building a support structure. Sundowns has it all to win. That's it. It's Sundowns' game to lose this final. But Pyramids have got nothing to lose in that sense. It's the first time they get there. They'll throw the kitchen sink at it with the supporters or no supporters or rent a crowd. I can see yeah, I just think that.
Are you suspecting we'll rent a crowd home and away? Because rent a crowd everywhere.
I don't know. I mean, hopefully now the behavior has changed because I mean this CAF has come with a lot of friction between the North Africans and the South African teams. So let's see how it goes. But I don't think they're going to cause Sundowns too many problems in terms of a contest.
Lufuno, moving from Champions League to Confed, the importance of Benjamin Mkapa in the final because Berkane is going to be not a walkover.
No, absolutely. Is Simba capable of beating Berkane? Yes. Most definitely, especially as Benjamin Mkapa.
But they have to finish it at home.
But no, I'm saying that
Simba they've not been good travellers.
They came to South Africa,
but they have not been good travellers.
But they got the result in South Africa.
Yeah, because they
so when you're playing knockout game, Lekoko, one thing that you need to know is that you don't have to win. As Sundowns will tell you, you don't have to win.
Yeah,
you need to play smart.
You just have to score.
You need to play smart. You can even play draw.
Yeah, and go
you
to
can
the
play 0-0
yeah.
penalties. Simba got talent, got players, got a very good team. They got a very good technical team. They are more capable of causing an upset. We saw the last game of Berkane. Berkane lost the game. So I'm saying to you, this is a 50-50 game. Simba are used to play in the Champions League. They are experienced. This is not a situation where they're putting themselves for the first time where they will be, they've used to this particular stage. Right. But Benjamin Mkapa is more important for them, playing their home game.
Who was the best player for Simba coming here for the second day? Kamara. And it tells you something. That is their goalkeeper. It tells you that here, they are not good travellers. It was this close. They've scored. Remember we spoke about VAR being the one that, being against the Stellies and all. And it's not VAR though. It's the referee. It's the referee. Because I mean, he was given the option to interpret, rightfully so. Yeah. But I'm saying to you, they have to lock this game at home and make sure that it's wrapped up. Because you remember in the semis, they lost 2-0. You remember away?
Yeah.
You remember Berkane, how many they scored at home? You're always the one that says, I'm bringing stats, I'm bringing reference.
No, they scored 4.
Now I'm bringing this reference that you want. So you must be careful. They must just go at home, then go and play the muddiest football that they've ever played when they're away. And that's it.
Gentlemen, Tsego, thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
There was sanity for a change here.
Mpho, I just want to say this to Lekoko when I'm closing. Fadlu, last season, where was he coaching?
He was coaching with
which country was he coaching?
He was coaching Morocco.
He knows Berkane very well. The same way that he did to Stellis is the same way. Fadlu.
Simba people. Fadlu, I wish you well. Simba people, my Wananji heart says I hope for other things. But next week we'll start talking about, and this is important, we've got to then start talking about what do we expect from these teams and how is it that we expect to set up. Thank you for watching. Sis Nomsa will speak nicely about Pirates because they are not anymore. So, well done, Pagania. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Sharp.